All right, guys, here comes part 2. Stay tuned. Now, aside from just needing a good cleaning, we're going to show in part 2 the other 2 small things that I got to help performance on my Losi 8T RTR. In part 1, we installed the Dynamite Platinum pipe, which definitely increases bottom end and high end torque. It really lets this rev a lot higher. Those of you may notice it's different from the last video. Yes, I do have these stock tires back on it. No, there's nothing wrong with the Badlands. It's just I put these on just because I did not want to destroy the Badlands, because I was running this in the street the other day, and that's why these are on. So, without further ado, part 2 will consist of part number DYNE 1506. It is the Dynamite Pull Start Eliminator for the .21 and .28 8T RTR for the 8 and 8T. Now, one person did leave a comment down below in part 1, and his name is 9 and 45 RC. He hit the nail on the head. He said right away what I was doing. Sorry for not responding to your comment, but I didn't want to give away the surprise just yet. So, and without, now obviously when you put this in your truck, you cannot install this without this. You need this. This is the Team Losi Racing TLR 241017. It is the Losi 8 4.0 engine mount. Now, the reason why you need these, other than looking awesome, these are what they're going to do is they're a lot shorter than the stock engine mount. Shorter by meaning height-wise. So what they're going to do is they're going to drop this engine down a little bit. And by dropping it down, it's going to allow the flywheel, see if I can zoom in. It's going to allow the flywheel to come closer to the bottom of the truck, allowing a bump box to grab a hold of that flywheel and start it up. Speaking of which, if you're going to do this, you need a bump box. So what better than Losi starter box? This is for the Losi starter box, the TLR starter box for the 8 and 8T. Now, this one I picked up secondhand. I purchased this off of eBay. Saved myself some money on that. So let's pop it open and take a look at it. Got a manual. Nice little carry handle. Not bad. Looks like it's got a spot for your battery to kind of go into. Sorry, I can't even see it. It's got a spot inside for your batteries to kind of lock into. I will not be using nickel metal hydride batteries. I will be using one 4S or 3S pack. I'm actually going to try a 3S pack. It's designed to run off two 7.2 volt nickel metal hydride packs or two cell lipos. or one 4-cell if you'd like. I'm going to try running it off one 3-cell. I have a high capacity 3-cell lipo that I use in my XXL2. So I'm going to give that a try and see if it spins it up fast enough. If not, I'll just run 2 lipos in series. So basically the way this works is your buggy just locks on top. It looks like I'm going to have to extend this chassis. Just locks on top of it. And I'll adjust that later. But once I take the engine out, I'll be able to see inside. So perfect, just locks in like that. And I'm going to have to adjust the front. But that's pretty cool. So you would just take your buggy. Easiest way to do it with the engine out. That way you can actually see down into the flywheel. Push down, start your buggy or start your truck. Really nice. Glad to have that. It's going to make things much, much easier to fire this thing up. Plus, we'll lose this annoying thing. And on top of just losing this, there's another really good reason for getting rid of your pull start. Not only is it annoying to pull, but it's robbing power from your engine. Your crankshaft is spinning your pinion gear. It's also spinning a shaft that's coming out of your backing plate, which a one-way bearing locks onto. So as your engine is spinning, it's constantly spinning that one-way bearing, robbing precious power that you don't need to use. It's unnecessary. It's actually, by eliminating that, you're basically picking up free horsepower. It's not going to add like a tremendous amount, but it is going to help the engine, or should I say, it's supposed to help the engine rev up a little easier, because now it's not dragging around extra momentum. Is it going to be better than putting an aftermarket engine in this thing? Absolutely not. But for an RTR, I think every little bit helps. So maybe we should pop this guy out and take a look at the weights. What I want to do is I want to actually compare. The light in here sucks. I want to compare the weight of this crankshaft, or sorry, this backing plate compared to this one. I want to see the difference. So let's pop this engine out and we'll weigh them. Hold tight. All right, so we got the engine on the bench. I'll tell you one thing. 3 of these 4 backing plate screws came right out. One of them gave me a real hard time. So I ended up, it started to strip out. I felt it trying to go, and unfortunately I ended up stripping. So instead of cut it, I just took a 9 Torx, hammered it in there, and I was able to just get it right out. And it's actually still usable. So back onto the work at hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this backing plate off. Now, bear in mind, there is a pin inside here. When you pull this off, because obviously it has to connect to the crank, and here it is. Make sure you get, I can't even see it. Make sure you take that pin out. Don't leave it in your engine, or that's going to be a real bad day. And then inside of the piston in the connecting rod, there is a small spring that you have to remove. So give me 1 second. I'm also going to get the scale so we can weigh these two things. Sorry about that, guys. I had to get a little pin. So inside the crank, you can barely see it. There's a little focus. There's a little spring. You have to get this spring out of the crank, the back of the connecting rod, because this little spring holds pressure against that little pin. So this is what I was talking about. So as it's spinning, your engine is spinning this, and I can already feel that there's resistance in this. And the engine has to use some of its power to push this around. On top of that, I mean, this has some weight to it. So let's weigh it. And this is a little one-way bearing. So we're going to weigh this. I'm going to turn my scale on. Zero it out. Make sure nothing else is on this. So it's 1.6 ounces. Now, this is still in the bag. In the bag, 0.6. So let's take this puppy out of the bag. Hang on. I don't want to lose any of these screws. But .4 of an ounce. .6. 1.2 ounces less. And on top of that, there's no rotational force needed to turn that on this new part. And make sure when you install this, arrow points up, because you can see the relief cut for the piston in the back of it. So arrow must point up. And don't just, my big ass hand is in the way. You'll feel it kind of click in. Just like that. She's home. And while we're on the subject, I'm going to show you this. So here's one of these beautiful Team Losi Racing mounts. And you can see that it is going to lower that engine down, and it's going to allow that flywheel to come into contact with the bump box, which, by the way, credit to Team Losi. So basically, if you have a buggy, you pull this up and you just spin it right there, and then you take this, and now you're ready for the buggy. For the truggy, pull that back, lift this up, and now when you take your buggy, pins are lined up, back pins are lined up, and if you look through the hole of the flywheel, boom, Doesn't get much better than that. That's what I call awesome sauce. That is perfect, perfect, perfect engineering. So that's what we're talking about here. All right. So in the next video, we'll have this thing running. You'll be able to see the bump box working. And aside from that, let's got the other project going on. It's all back together, but I've still yet to put the diffs back together. A lot of shit going on. Not enough hours of the day. And that's just still sitting down here. So, with that said, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, have a good day, guys. Later.